What are you doing in my studio? That's a bit freaky. Hello!
And welcome to the Hasbean 2013 Top 10.
Top 10. Now, I normally do this stuff on my own. You know, you've watched them before. And I talk to myself for like half an hour.
Yeah.
So what I thought, I would get somebody who is always obnoxious. Always... If I say... Okay. Listen. See this mug, Roland? Do you like the red?
No, not really.
No, you don't, do you? You don't like red, do you?
Not when you say you like
Even
it.
though you've got a red t-shirt
Yeah,
on.
no,
You
definitely
actually want to burn that t-shirt now, don't you? He's contraire. Honestly, anything I say, he'll try his best to find... Anyway, there's your mug, by the way.
you.
We're going to drink coffee while we're doing this too. Yeah, like, I'm putting my own first. That's how gentlemen I am. Screw you. Now, I thought it'd be nice to kind of get some dialogue, if you can call it dialogue, going with this. And so I've done my top 10 and I've got it on here, and Roland's going to contradict me all the way.
Absolutely.
So interestingly, last year I was looking through my I seem to have passworded myself out. Doing well. I might have.
So
Yeah, you do that
last
one.
year
Like,
you had quite a lot of big lots ones.
yeah, I
occurring.
mean, last year, like, I got number 10 was Honduras Azul, which we both loved. First time there was a Honduras in there. Then I had Guatel Bosque. Then I had Kenya, the Colombia decaf.
Yeah.
Nick Mamamina from the Moresh family. Cachoeira was number 5. Licho was number 4. Santa Patrona Pacamara was number 3. Ethiopia Dericocha Natural was 2, and Cantonu Inazi from Bolivia was number 1. And I forgot that was my favourite coffee last year. Completely forgot.
It's interesting. There's quite a lot of recurring ones there that we'd had in other years that have come back again really strong. And this year, I think that with just so many different new ones.
I think this year's been super tough, just because the workout in Guatemala. So first time we moved a direct container from Guatemala.
Yeah.
More work in El Salvador. Costa Rica. Oh, jeez. Costa Rica, I think we won this year.
Yeah.
But also Nicaragua. Nicaragua was late in the season.
Yeah.
But anyway, we could go through. Interesting omissions from mine. I have no Guatemalan in there, after saying about Guatemala.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this before we come on, and you've got a Guatemalan in yours, haven't you?
And I found it really hard to choose which one, but I knew there was going to be one in the top 10 for me.
And we were trying to come up with why, because I do love lots of the Guats we have, and I think a lot of it was painful to ship that one this year. Hard work. I was banging my head. It took me 4 months from agreeing, signing the contracts to actually shipping. It was really tough, and I think that took some of the shine off for me.
Yeah.
Chocker Tails, any other year, would definitely be my top 5.
Definitely.
Any other year. And it's not even in the top 10. So the rules of this are, you can only have one coffee from one country in the top 10. So, in other words, I could have a top 10 of El Salvador's, I think. I could have a top 10 of Bolivia's.
Yeah.
I could have a top 10 of Brazil's, probably. It gets really tough. So I have to limit to one coffee from one country. And my number 10... Now, first time we've done any business in Burundi this year. We've seen lots of Burundis, and I went for the Burundi Rugambo. I really love this one, mainly because of its unique profile. It was so African, whereas the Burundis of past have been very, I don't know, even a bit baggy and old, and not very like.
We've really struggled to find anything that's really impressed us, I think.
And then we found 3.
Yeah.
So we had Rugambo, we had Mugamera.
Yeah.
Which I think.
So Mugamera is my number 9.
Right.
So again, pretty close in order. And again, I think that it was just like what kind of direction you preferred. So Rugambo had a bit more of the spice.
Yeah.
Mugamera a bit more of the fruity juiciness. And then there was the Marama.
Yeah. Which was almost forgotten.
Yeah.
And it was still an amazing coffee. And it was great to see some work in Burundi coming to fruition. And early samples from this year's ones, I think it's going to be as good again. So they're going to be arriving mid-Jan, end of Jan, and we'll see Burundis come back. But it's a new entry, of course, because I've never had any Burundis before, and it's great to see a new country kind of slot in. And this is probably one of the reasons why Guatemala has dropped out. And I'm fairly sure that next year Guatemala will definitely be back. I think lots of the transport issues have been ironed out of last year, and I'm going to spend a few days there again this year to try and make sure that doesn't happen again. But yeah, so Burundi in at number 10. So moving on to number 9. This is my biggest shock. Like, I feel like I need to go. You know, well, I don't know whether you do know. I don't think I know either. But you know, you sit around in a circle at some kind of Alcoholics Anonymous type place and go, "Hello, my name's Steve Layton, and one of my number 9 favourite coffee of this year was an Indonesian."
Yeah, I think we're in agreement on this one though.
I loved this coffee, and we still have some. Like, if you don't like Sumatran, I've been very careful not to ram this down people's throats.
No, I've been really struggling not to get overly excited, overly publicly.
Yeah.
But there are a few people who I know like the coffee. I've just said to them, look, you know what? You know, if you've not had this coffee, you need to have this coffee.
So when we do cuppings here, we always blind. We don't. You find out afterwards, of course. Like, that would be stupid to just go. Yeah, that's nice. But during the cupping, it's blind, and I think you set up the cuppings. Yeah. So Roland kind of is naughty because he likes to make me look like an idiot, and he'll hide this on a table full of Ethiopian naturals, and I'll get to go, "Wow, this is stunning! Oh, this is like blueberry. This is like." You know, this is like boozy. This is like clean, and you just see his smug face getting smug. There it is. Look, there it is. You just go. Yeah, that's a wahana. I go so. That's a wahana. In Yoda style. I don't know about that.
I've never done that in Yoda style. Just so you know.
Never ever. But it's an amazing coffee, and I wish I don't want people to buy it because they'll know it and I'll have their preconceptions. The people that don't like Indonesians, I'd love to just drop it in a table like we drop it in tables here, and you just go, it's really good coffee in its own right.
Yeah. We're total agreement. Wahana Natural. I've actually put it number 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I never thought.
Oh my God.
I never thought I would. But
you've got a bigger problem than me.
You know what? I think you're so right. It could just be an Ethiopian natural. It is so good, but it got that body. But what I like about it is that shows what Sumatra can do. Like, I know we've probably not get it again. We've not had it in the past. It's not the origin. It's the processing. And I've always said this, that it is their processing. They're very, very kind of focused on the way that they process. Yeah. And Wahana is different, as in they're willing to try to. I mean, they did the first washed coffee to come that I'd seen out of Sumatra. They did a honey, not so successfully. But it is the processing, and I think it shows that there is great potential of Indonesia. I'm really glad that we keep some of the Sumatrans. We've got more the traditional ones, like we've got the Gaon that has been a really important one for us in terms of blend. But at the same time, I would love to see them push things like this, and because that shows just how exciting it could be. You see, for me, Gaon is a gateway. It's like a gateway drug, but it's a gateway. Some people really like those coffees, and if you don't, the Gaon is an amazing example of a traditional Indonesian that is clean, that is full-bodied, and will take that slightly darker roast, and will give you more body. Now, some people like that, but you can't have a conversation with them about something like this, or something like, you know, for instance, Cachoeira, or the Canary. We're drinking the Cachoeira Canario at the minute. You could not have that conversation with them without the Gaons. No. This is the next step on for me. And I know lots of people who've bought this one thinking it's going to be like a Sumatran and gone, actually, no, I quite like it. You know, it's that challenging. It is a really excessive natural. It's really boozy. And I don't drink it all the time because I find that natural just, I want it now and again. I couldn't drink it all the time. But I think just for the excitement and the shock of having that. Yeah, definitely. That's why it goes up there for me.
Yeah, it is definitely one of the shocks of the year for me. And every time I go back to it, I'm still shocked. And yeah, I think it's a great coffee. I'm gobsmacked you put it number 1 though. But so that's another new entry. So that means 2 countries have dropped out. 2 countries. So the 2 are Guatemala and Honduras, by the way, because just clear.
Yeah, Honduras. We have had a lovely coffee from. We've sold out already.
Well, the Honduras. I think this year it was good. It wasn't as much of a surprise. But also it arrived late in the season, and as amazing as it was, I don't think it was as amazing as last year. And I think we've had more amazing coffees this year. So.
It's the sign of the year.
Indeed. So moving on to number 8. So number 8 is from Ethiopia, which was last year at number 2.
And we're back to agreement because I'm on number 7 for this one.
The Kachere Debo washed.
Lovely.
It was a traditional Ethiopian for me.
Yeah.
It was that lemony, bergamoty kind of, like fruity, clean, but a really good example of it.
And I find it really tough to choose Ethiopians.
Yeah.
And I think actually this year, like last year for me, it was the naturals that were really exciting.
We nailed naturals
this
last
year.
Yeah.
It's the washed. Yeah. I tried. So originally when we had 3, we had Chilekatu, we had Kachere washed, and we had the Aricha. And that Chilekatu, that kind of lemon icing, I loved it.
Yeah.
And then Gary was telling me, when we were in the roastery, he was saying, Kachere washed. And he made me a chemix of it, and he said, apricots and peaches.
Yeah.
I say apricots and peaches, and that's just delightful.
Yeah. No, I'm all over it, and it is an amazing coffee. And Ethiopia, since visiting a couple of years ago and getting my head round how the ECX works, but also working much closer with the exporters, I think we've done so much better in Ethiopia than we ever did before. We were not poor, but it was luck. We were kind of finding lots by luck, or not finding anything at all. Already approved 4 lots from Ethiopia this year, which are going to be stellar. I mean, we were all very excited when we were cupping them, and I think it's going to be good. But I think I mentioned to Kerbal Kircher, the Kerbal Kircher Gucci, the Aricha wash was amazing. And the Derry Kochers, again, amazing coffees. It was a tough choice, but definitely the Kachere washed for me. Kind of just snuck past. So moving on to number 7. So last year was number 8, Kenya. This year number 7.
And I had mine was number 8. So the same coffee again. I had just one point swapped around with Ethiopia because again we've had some really good
Kenyans. And I think again this comes back to visiting this year, being able to buy pre-auction. So I spent 6 days in Kenya cupping pre-auction lots, and then we bought this lot from the auction, the Manjango washed SL28 Peabury. Kenya famous for Peaburys. It was great to find the Peabury that I could get excited about, and I got excited about it because it's old school.
Yeah,
it reminded Kenya Gethimbwini Peabury. If you don't remember Gethimbwini Peabury, one of the best Kenyas ever. Unfortunately, I drove past there when I was in Kenya, and it's shrinking the farm because people are basically building on it. It's like most of Kenya. The coffee industry in Kenya is shrinking. But I can go back to 2007, I think it was, and it was a Gethimbwini Peabury where it just tasted like Ribena juice, and this was reminding me of that so much.
Yeah. No, this is exactly what I want from a Kenyan. Yeah. It's delivering expectations. Yeah. It's not shocking. It's not out of where it should be. It's exactly what it should be, but it does it so well.
I cupped about 200 lots to find this one. Like, it was mad. I've never seen cupping like it. Like, basically 40 cups on a table. Yeah. And by the time you got to the end, they cleared and started the next lot, and you're like, but I can't do anymore. They thought I was like, I guess it's like 100-metre sprinter, and I was with marathon runners, and they were in for the long haul. But I'm very pleased with this, because one of the things I said in last year's top 10 was I wanted Kenya to be better, and I definitely feel it has got better. I don't think we're there yet. I think we can do more work on traceability, more work on like finding a farm we can work with, or a co-op, more like a washing station, more longer term. But this was definitely some foundations, and I expect Kenya again next year to get better. And Kenya's so important. You know, when it comes to brewed coffee, if you want to give somebody that says, "Oh, coffee tastes the same," give them something like this Manjango, and it's one of those moments where you go,
really not.
It's like the first time I had an Isla whiskey. You know, it was like, oh, this is really different. I get this now. And Manjango was a perfect one for that. And I'm really pleased to see Kenya's kind of... we had a good selection. Karani was another very close run one.
Karani was great.
And Gachika.
Gachika was really close to me as well, yeah.
Yeah, so, but this one purely won it because it tasted like Ribena, and I like Ribena. So moving on to number six. So number 6 we have...
Okay.
Colombia.
A genuine disagreement. So this is... I haven't put a Colombian in my top 10. Tough, I know, because they're really good.
Los Laurels? Meridiana?
Really the Laurels, I think, is probably one of my favourites.
I love Meridiano. I love the decaf Meridiano. I haven't gone for either of those. I've gone for the Lechera, the Wash Scatura from oh God, it'll come back to me.
Okay.
No, the Pitalito. Yes, Pitalito, which is the nearest town. I really like this family. Really like this family. And I think that could be what pushed over the edge a bit. You have to remember I have a personal involvement in these a little bit too, because I know these guys. It's the second year of seeing this coffee. I think it has got better, and it's not got better by chance. It's got better by investment and time and energy and effort, and I can taste that in the cup. Colombia, we've had amazing Colombias. We really have.
Yeah.
And I think we're a bit spoiled because we have so many of them.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you're absolutely right. In fact, there's one I did first roast of it, didn't I, just before Christmas.
Yeah.
Like literally days before, and we said, wow.
Yeah.
And that's just yet another one. In fact, there's still one or two even that we've got yet to come.
I know the focus ons that I did in My Mugs on Colombia, and every week it was like, wow. And like the Los Laurels and the Sun's coffee next to it, is it the Vega? I can't remember. The Vega. But basically we've got the two which are next door farms. There's so many interesting experiments. We've had different days pickings, so much information. And Lechera for me was just a beautiful like green apple, sharp acidity, but balanced and creamy at the same time. It was this whole kind of juxtaposition of flavours going on that I've not seen in a Colombian for a long time. And I think it just comes that you can taste the process.
Yeah.
So Lechera was good. You haven't got any Colombias though. So.
It hasn't, and like maybe that's me to some extent. Like we've all got our preferences with regards to things like origins.
Yeah.
And you know what, Colombias, I like them, I appreciate them, but I think they never quite click for me in the way that some of the other origins do.
I think maybe because everything's washed could be a part as well, because it lacks that diversity. It has a very tight set of parameters of taste, you know.
And I find there's really much a very much kind of Colombian character. It's this kind of really clean, kind of dark chocolate kind of thing going on.
I got a Colombian character. Oh, that's Mexican, isn't it?
This is how he gets on in Origin.
Yeah, that's me handing the hand of hope from the UK. Now I can kind of get why not, because Colombians are very solid, they're very consistent, but they're rarely out of their wow zones. And I think that's why I like Lechera more than others, because for me, it did have that a little bit out of the comfort zone, but also it's that big improvement. Like I loved it last year, I love it more this year.
Yeah.
And I really hope that you know it continues to be good. Meridiano Decaf though was a very, very close run thing.
Yeah, the Meridiano's just...
It's in decaf, and it's an amazing... Like, blender-wise, we blend a lot with that coffee.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so moving on to number 5, which was last year, it was a number 4, is Costa Rica.
And this year it's my number 3.
And I think we've agreed on this one too.
We have. This was tough for both of us, I think, though, because...
I'm going to read out some names to you now, right? So I've got Finca de Lincho, La Margarita Salamari, La Pira, Herbazoo, Finca La Casa, Zasaro Finca La Casa, Angelina Yellow Honey Villasachi, sorry, Don Mayo, Finca Bella Vista, Don Mayo La Loma, oh my days, Finca La Perla. Like, these were amazing coffees.
I've got to say, one of my favourite experiences this year, when we had all the Costa Rica arrive, we roasted samples of all of them, we put them out, we cooked all of them, and I started going, that's really tasty. And then, wow, that's even better. And it just got more and more as I went on the table. Every one was blow my mind good.
Yeah.
And
I'm just going to show you what we did in Costa Rica this year. at the park. Because Costa Rica this year, I'm going to blow my own trumpet, but I think we did really well. And that is all down to our exporters.
Yeah.
Francesco is amazing. He looks after us so well. Really, like, Licho was very close to being my one, but it has to be Carlos Arieta, which now has a name. It's cool, which I can't remember. Cafe Arbar. Yeah, Arbar. So the story behind Carlos is he's never sold his coffee before. It's just kind of got mixed into a bulk lot. And this year he decided to separate it and take it to our exporters. Cupping it on the table, and I'm going around, and again, blind cupping, don't know anything about it. Get to this one, I was like, boom, 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 boom. I've got to buy that. And I'm getting really excited. And there's a few growers milling about in the cupping lab, and I'm going, I have to buy this coffee. This is amazing. They turn it over and go, oh, it's his. I'm like, so he introduces me, we start talking, and I just say, so how much do you want to sell? I found out it's I think it was 8 bags this year, 8 bag lots, so tiny lot, like 450 kilo of greens. Like, how much do you want? And he says, well, how much do you like it? And I said, a lot. He says, been a lot. I was like, you got me. So we paid far more than we should have for the coffee. It still wasn't enough for me still, because it is amazing coffee. Because of it being so expensive, I think some people haven't had the chance to enjoy it, which is a shame. Maybe we can... There's more of the coffee this year. They're getting more professional, so hopefully we can get a price down a little bit, because we'll be buying more of it, and he'll be able to cover his costs easier. But an amazing coffee, just like that green apple again, but black tea. It was like a really good Yirgacheffe.
You know? I entirely agree, and it's got that complexity of fruit, the sweetness that is just out of the park.
And it carries on and on and on and on and on. It is just delicious.
And as I said, I remember cupping along those blind through those Costa Ricans, and there was a few that jumped out, like Angelina.
Yeah,
for
Angelina
me,
was good.
Was one of the ones coming here, and then I hit that one and just thought, at this point, I'm taking a bag of this. If I've got to go down and roast it myself in a minute when Steve's not looking, I'll do that, because this is delicious.
Lepera was like I really struggle. And Licho.
Yeah.
Licho for me is just such a good coffee to work with. It's so easy to roast. Yeah. It talks to you while it's roasting. And
it's been a really important one, because it's one that we've blended a lot with. We've taken a lot of shops have taken it. It's got a lot on the internet. It's gone everywhere.
Well, you know, with Carlos, like we bought 7-8 bags. With Licho, we bought 150.
Yeah.
And it just sells. Yeah. Like it's But Costa Rica, I'm very pleased with Costa Rica this year. I think it was good. There's lots of amazing coffees, and it's good stuff. So, moving on. Number 4. I think this is probably the biggest shock for me.
Yeah, and this is...
Brazil
is my number 5 this year.
It was my number 5 last year, and I think the reason it's number 4 this year, and Costa Rica and it have swapped places, is I've gone for the Cachoeira Yellow Bourbon. And it is the best it has ever been. Like, wow!
Yeah.
We've just had the Canario, and I like the Canario. I think the Canario is great, but the Yellow Bourbon is something else.
And mine, incidentally, was that Canario.
Okay.
So I've gone for the Canario, and you know what? I think what says a lot to me is that I often felt a bit about Brazil, like I feel about Colombia, that it's just not really exciting me. Quite often I think, they're good, but they're not coffees that I'm itching to get here. And that Cachoeira Canario,
something else.
It's just so clean. There's that fruit bit that you just so often I find lacking in Brazil's.
Yeah.
Not enough to be overwhelming, but just enough to have that real kind of dimension to it.
Yeah. No, I mean, this coffee arrived with us 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we've battered it.
Yeah.
We've battered it.
We're fast running out of all of our...
Yeah. But Inglaterra has also been amazing. Paseo, it just gets better and better. Yeah. And Carmo entering the fold this year as well.
Yes.
You've also got to remember St. Judas. And I forgot about St. Judas. St. Judas is coming back in February, March.
Yeah.
It's late harvest because of it being in Chiapa Diamantina. But... we've had some stunning Brazils, and
we have.
One thing I think we've always done well at is Brazils.
Brazils have been super consistent.
Well, because we've been super consistent with the people we're working with as well, and we pay way above and beyond what most Brazils cost. because Brazils tend to be cheap, and these are certainly not cheap. But Cachoeira, like, it's one coffee that I think if I didn't have any more, I would be truly upset.
Yeah.
Like, truly upset. Like, these other coffees we've lost, like, I still mourn La Lujon. And Machicamarca, I still mourn Machicamarca, but I think Cachoeira for me, like, it's an amazing coffee to work with.
Everything else is kind of like you can fill the gap if you have to.
Yeah.
Cachoeira, if it wasn't here, I honestly don't know how we'd fill that gap.
It's a good coffee. So moving on to number 3. Was 5th last year. Is now 6th, last year. And he's 3rd this year, which is Nicaragua.
2nd for me.
Okay, well, yeah, I can go with that. And this year it's from Limoncillo instead of Mamma Mina. And it's the yellow Pacamara.
You know what? Since we started doing this at Christmas, and we roasted a lot more of this around Christmas, I've been drinking it a bit when I wasn't really before, and it is just so ridiculously sweet, and that fruit
so yellow,
so good.
Gary hates that as well, doesn't he? When we start, we're cupping him and go, "Oh, that's yellow," and he's going, "What does yellow mean?" But it's yellow fruits. It tastes yellow, and it is. It isn't the mind, because we've done it blind and gone, oh yeah. You know, it's tropical fruit. It is pineapple. It is all of the delicious things. Now, if that coffee wasn't 25 quid a bag and it was 6 quid a bag, it would fly out. And eventually, I think it will do, because they're planting a lot more of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely somewhere this year I'm going to visit. So in 3 weeks' time, I will be standing amongst the yellow Pacamara going, "It's all mine." But it's a super coffee. It really is. But all of the Nicaraguans this year, I think, have been really good. Like Mamma Mina, I already mentioned, but we've got Escondida as well. And Milagros.
Yeah.
We've also got the San Jose lot from the Los Favorites auction as well, which
also really good. Yeah.
It's kind of snuck in and nobody really saw it coming, but it's been selling quite nicely, so that's been good. But interesting coffees. Nicaragua is somewhere that is getting better all the time for us, and that's because we're working again with somebody consistently. This is 6 years of working with Maresh family, and here's to the next 6 if it gets this good.
Absolutely.
So it was your number 2.
And my number 2, it's really snuck up on me. I spent a lot of time thinking, it's good, but is it that? And I've been drinking it thinking, you know what, it really is.
So that's where it's all been going. You've been stealing it. Awesome. Cool. Moving on. So my number 2 is Bolivia.
Yeah.
Which was last year number 1 for me.
And this was dropped right down to number 6.
You're harsh!
I am, because this is fantastic coffee.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of Bolivia's just arrived with us.
Yes.
So there's a bit of like new crop excitement.
Yeah.
And when I thought,
I think there's also a little bit of that we haven't been round them all yet. So like Canton Unaise, I completely forgot was my number 1 last year. Completely forgot.
And this is what made this really easy for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm really confident that this year's Bolivians are better than last year's Bolivians.
Yeah.
And we've only done like 2 of this year's farms.
Yeah.
So all of last year's I can kind of ignore. So I knew Bolivia was down to 2 farms.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, that is part of the problem, that, and I think that's maybe why it's number 2, that we don't have them all out. They are very fresh off the boat, and we find with Bolivians they tend to get better the little bit of rest they get when they arrive. But this is one I had to share straight away, and it's the first time I've seen a honey. So a pulped natural stroke honey, whatever you want to call it, come from Bolivia. They did it specially for us, and it's from David Vilke. What was that your choice?
That was
as well?
my choice as well.
And
so for me, David Vilke was a clear choice.
Yeah.
So we've got four lots from him.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're all delicious.
Yeah.
And
I got a text on Christmas Day from a friend who just said, the David Vilke Natural Farm has blown my mind.
Absolutely. And that was really close for me, the Natural Farm.
Yeah.
It was a tough decision because they're both so good. Both the first year he's ever done it.
It's
and
amazing.
that's
so
incredible.
if you don't know what we're talking about when we talk about farm, that David wanted to do something special for us this year, so he did a lot on the farm, which he naturally processed himself, and then he asked the mill to do a lot and separated them. So we could taste the mill's natural processing against his. And I think we were all in agreement that his was much, much better. And this text again from this friend came back and said, I do definitely think the farm is better than the mill.
Yeah.
He continues to surprise me because if you look at the way he picks and the way he looks after the farm, it's so higgledy-piggledy. It's like all the things you shouldn't do. It's like, no, David, stop that. Like, he picks everything off the tree, then goes back and hand sorts it all. And you're like, maybe if you just pick the ripe ones. But you can't tell him because David knows best.
And this is a great example of why you don't stick your head into
farms.
You know what? Whatever he does, he's making delicious coffee.
And it also goes to prove that you can do all of the best things and not necessarily have an amazing coffee. You can do all of the most craziest things that you shouldn't do and you can still have an amazing coffee. But the honey, which was done at the mill, to be fair, because he didn't want to take the risk. And I think also, David's he's a real subsistence grower and I don't think he can take the risk with the honey, nor do I want him to, actually. But the mill did a great job.
Yeah.
It is the most unique tasting coffee. The first time I cupped it when it had arrived, I had a stinking cold, and I could taste everything in it.
Yeah.
Everything. It's a stunning coffee, and one I insist you try.
Definitely.
Number 2, I don't know whether it should be number 1. Can I change?
No, you can't change now.
Okay.
You're settled.
So on to the big one. Number
One.
1. So I'm just gonna. Dressed appropriately for the occasion.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like having So it's El Salvador, which was number 2 last year and is number 1 this year. I'm going to read out some El Salvador names because I've written them down here. Finca Argentina. Finca Los Alpes. Finca San Jose. Ooh. Like Red House. I feel sorry for San Jose, right? Do you know why? Because they do a stunning job. And really, they should have been in the top 10 millions of times. Any other country apart from El Salvador? I honestly mean this. Any other country, they would have had their turn. But it's just it's really tough.
It is so tough.
The Amarangi and the Elefante. Oh my God! And then I'm going to go Finca Norija, which was a brand new coffee for us this year, which was stunning. Now, I'm going to say another one that has been in the top 10 before, actually, but La Fani. Oh my God! La Fani is a killer coffee. Yeah. One that I know you love, and I love too, San Catania.
That was my choice. I'm afraid it did end up all the way down at number 10.
Oh!
Because,
wow.
You know what, I love all the El Salvadors, but again, they're kind of that solid, drinkable, and I kind of... I love the excitement.
Siberia
was delicious.
Montserrat, Loma La Gloria, Cincinapa, San Rafael, El Retiro.
Yeah. And
what do these coffees have to do to get in the top 10? They are all stellar, huge, so important coffees.
Absolutely.
But my number 1 has got to be the Santa Patrona. Yeah. Santa Patrona for me, from the Pacas family. A big year. It's been a big year. It's almost a year that I think it grew up for me as a coffee. I've enjoyed the Pacamara, but it's just I don't know. It just got better. It took that next step on. There was more of it, which was good. We didn't have to sell it for quite as much money. Finished 3rd and 4th in the World Barista Championships. I think that's the first time a farm. I know because Limoncello did it the year before. But it's an amazing coffee. They're lovely people. It's always one of the highlights of my trip is going to see them. El Salvador is always one of my highlights of my trip. We are blessed. We are very blessed with amazing coffees in El Salvador, and this just continues to show that it is a great, great country. I disagree with you about it being so. I think this Pacamara is something different. I don't think it is that solid. And I think La Fani for sure is one of those great build on, and I think the Patrona Bourbon build on coffee. This is a supper, but the Pacamara for me is just so clean and sharp and just. I think it's a great, great coffee.
It is a great, great coffee.
There are 10 great, great coffees in there. There are many, many great, great coffees in there, but
there is the one that I had instead of your Colombian.
Yeah.
So I just got a Marla.
Yes.
For mine, it was the San Sebastian. And it was not what I thought. I thought when we had to pre-shipments, Los Yucatales was definitely the one for me.
Me
and
too.
then San Sebastian, when it got here, the Pacamara.
Yeah.
Now the natural is awesome, but that washed.
So while I was there, I don't think I've ever told you this story, but while I was there, they put on a cupping table for us, and they found a bit of, we were talking about Pacamara, so they tend to come up a lot. And they said, we've got a little bit of last year's crop, we'll put it on the table. And put it on the table, it's just like, and it was like, you have to put that aside for me. And definitely a conversation I'm going to have with them this year. I say Guatemala, I don't know, like El Bosque. El Bosque's been, like, year on year has been very, very good coffee. So, like, I don't know why.
I think it's
like that Hermosa has been really good too.
Hermosa's been really good. For me, what made the Sebastian Pacamara wash stand out was it is so ridiculously sweet. I think it's one of those ones again where I've had people come in to say like, "Did you put sugar in it?" No, and it's a genuine comment, and it's one that we haven't really blended with. We haven't really put it for any particular shops. Shops haven't been taking big quantities, but it's been flying out because people at home have been buying it. It's
funny with a lot of the Pacamaras, we tend not to blend with them so much, do we? But just because it's difficult to dial in a grind with Pacamara and a Bourbon in there, and you know it makes it a lot harder. But so our top 10 rundown. At number 10, Burundi Rugambo.
At number 10, El Salvador San Cayetano Natural.
Number 9, Sumatra Wahana Natural.
Number 9, Burundi Mugamera.
And number 8, Ethiopia Yirgachev Kachere Debe Washed.
Number 8, Kenya Maganyo Peabury.
And number 7, Kenya Majango.
And number 7, Ethiopia Kachere Washed. I feel like that just...
No, yeah. Colombia Finca Lechera. And number 6,
David Vilca.
Number 5, Costa Rica Carlos Arieta.
Number 5, Brazil Cachoeira Canario.
Number 4, Brazil Fazenda Cachoeira Bourbon.
Number 4, Guatemala Sebastian Pacamara Washed.
Number 3, Nicaraguan Yellow Pacamara.
Number 3, Carlos Arieta from Costa Rica.
Number 2, Bolivia David Vilca Honey.
Number 2, Nicaragua Limoncello Pacamara Yellow Washed.
And at number 1, El Salvador Santa Patrona Pacamara.
Number 1, Sumatra Wahana Natural.
I don't think we're so different.
No, we keep saying
we try our best to kind of disagree with each other.
Disagree with them, but
yeah. No, I think it's been a great year for coffee. Thank you for coming on this because it kind of saves me talking to myself. It's a bit more fun, and yeah.
It's 2014.
I don't know whether I should end it with life's too short for bad coffee or like no, that sucks. So yeah, 2014.
2014.